introduce you to my dear friend, Julie Gray, who is one of many, many things. So we all talk about how boxes can be suffocating. Julie's not in the box. Julie is out everywhere doing beautiful things and definitely just bringing hope and sunshine everywhere she goes. So Julie, I'm so excited to have you here. Would you like to
Oh,
share with everybody a little bit about some of the magical things that you do in the world?
sure. Well, thanks for having me, dear Sam. Um, Gosh, okay, yeah. So, like Sam said, I'm definitely not put in a box. Whatever I do so creatively and in an artistic way. Um, I make most of my meat and potatoes by doing wedding photography, but I'm also an artist. That's my true passion. As you can see, we're in my art studio right now. And even that, there's a lot of different things happening in the art studio. There's painting, there's paper mache, there's photography. I am also an ordained spiritualist minister and also a psychic medium. And I try to incorporate all those things and kind of smash them together whenever I can.
Yeah, and that's probably why we get along so well because I do the same. And we just
Yeah.
take all of this wonderfulness and put it together into our own special sauce, right? So beautiful, beautiful. So what are some of the things you're currently working on right now? What are things inspiring you?
Oh, okay. So right now I just, wedding season has ended. I'll preface that. I live in Maine, so it's very seasonal. So wedding season has officially ended, so I'm back here in the studio making as much as I can, um, embracing the daylight hours, especially making art. And I'm also currently working on a book, technically a memoir that incorporates past life regressions as well. So that's kind of my baby right now.
I'm so, so excited to read that. So definitely when it's ready, guys, don't worry, we'll share it. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So being an artist, I imagine that emotion and personal experience plays such a huge role. Like when we talk about transformation, you have that beautiful gift of taking something you've been through and creating something from it, which we all do energetically, but you have a beautiful way of manifesting it into the physical. So, do you have any insights or anything for people who are really stuck right now or going through some stuff? What are some of the ways that you do that?
Really just being vulnerable, I think, is the biggest key thing that you can do to help yourself kind of transform your feelings and emotions and grief or whatever you're going through and experiencing into something more productive or something physical. Yeah, just being raw, being vulnerable, and also doing exercises like word mapping. That really helps as well, just to kind of get out core ingredients of what is making the recipe of the meal you are right now. Kind of like getting those keywords out, seeing how they interplay with each other, interact with each other, and kind of going from there. But really, yeah, cutting to the core of things and really getting vulnerable with it.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, I have two things I want to share or invite you to share about that. So, first of all, for those who are new to personal development or they're new to this way of thinking, what is word mapping?
So word mapping is really like, say, you kind of like develop a theme and kind of create a web of themes. So really you can start really central, like I woke up this morning and what was I thinking about? You know, name three things. From those three words, kind of create words that are associated with that, or feelings or colors that are associated with these things, and just see how things really interact with each other. And really just like visually seeing that out on a piece of paper or digitally, if you prefer, it really just provides a lot of clarity very
Yeah,
quickly.
I love that. And I'm just seeing like trees being formed from these beautiful words. And I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So, the other thing I want to touch on, you mentioned vulnerability and being raw. And especially as women, we are embarking on this space where we can be more vulnerable and we can be more open. But that for hundreds of years hasn't been our reality, right? And so, I'm finding that on one hand, so refreshing that we can be so vulnerable, that we can tap in with our true authentic selves, and we can really just showcase without an excuse or without an explanation, just be who we are. And at the same time, there's still that old programming that resists us and says, no, you need to live here. You need to do it this way. So what are some of the things that you do to kind of pull yourself out of the old ways of thinking and step out? Because I know when we first get started being vulnerable, we may have some supportive people around us, but we don't always have supportive people, or people don't always understand, right? So what would you say would be some great ways of dealing with that, or what's been your experience, things like that?
Um, uh, Trying to be vulnerable. Well, really, I mean, I've always kind of been super vulnerable myself, to a fault. I mean, I grew up in, why are you crying so much? Stop crying. You're such a crybaby, which lends itself to being more artistically minded and also sensitive to spirit and things like that and energy in general. But every now and then, yes, life does kind of come by and like a bulldozer. And I find that perhaps I might be feeling a little less in tune or less vulnerable with myself and honest with myself. So really like meditation, which I'm guilty of not meditating as often enough as I should. And really, like, I find personally that really taking care of my physical body and like self-care in those very like, basic ways, like drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, those basic things really kind of help create a clearer channel for myself. That way I can be more in tune and vulnerable with myself and feel safe in the process. So granted, I've been using way too many like food delivery apps lately and having all the yummy things delivered to me out of stress because we know what's happening in the
My
United States
guilty
right
pleasure is
now.
I order movie theater popcorn.
Oh,
And
that's
I
nice.
know I'm paying three times the price, but it is so amazingly good.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
I
that's
can have
true.
it in 10 minutes, and I can eat that in private. That's my guilty pleasure for food delivery.
I love that. I love that. I mean, sometimes that self-care as well, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely I find that like and getting out walking, which is another form of meditation and exercise both. So yeah, things like that can really help provide a lot of clarity and yeah, create that clear channel in oneself.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. I was thinking when you're saying being called crybaby, I'm like, I bet right now if we could see everyone who's with us and we did a poll, who here has been called a crybaby, I think we all have, right? Or there's other little names that we were called
Oh, yeah.
that really at some point in our life defined us a bit. And we are as a collective breaking out of those
Mhm.
shells and saying, cry baby just means that I'm in tune with me and I'm emotional because I love myself and I love others so much that I feel deeply, right? And when we rephrase it in a way that helps us see something on a bigger picture,
Mhm.
sometimes that can be so, so helpful, and expansive at the same time.
Exactly. And I think a lot of that as a kid being called those names, obviously those are the things that, those are the formative years where it gets kind of drilled out of us to like, okay, become more numb, build up your walls. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's sad, but it's not too late. It's never too late to kind of get back there.
Definitely never too late. No, for sure. I have somebody I love very much, and when he started getting older, he said, what, I just cry now. He goes, I don't know where this ever came from. I don't know. I don't like that I'm doing this, but I do. I cry now. And when he gets excited about something or when he sees something beautiful in the world, he cries as he shares it. And my heart just melts. I just love seeing him in this vulnerable capacity because I know he was raised to be, we don't show emotion, get up, walk it off, that. And to see him now just almost uncontrollably be able to step into that vulnerability, I'm like, it's beautiful. Please don't ever shut that off. It's just beautiful. I love it.
Even you saying that is making me like, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. So what kind of spaces are you stepping into these days then? Because you've got all this beauty and wonder around you. And we know we've got the tasks, you've got your artwork, you've got the photography, which is amazing, by the way. You guys definitely need to check it out. And you have your artwork, you have your speaking, you have your mediumship, you have all these things. But what is it that it's calling to you in your heart to come forward? What are some of those things that are going on for you?
Mm. Being called towards. To be honest, I feel like there's nothing specific right now, and it is a challenge to constantly prioritize those things. I feel like every season I am more focused on one aspect than another, but I'm the kind of person where I just feel like I need to be busy. I don't have children, so I don't have, you know,
You have a
babies to take
puppy
care of
child.
or anything. I do have a beautiful, beautiful Harvey puppy child.
Yeah.
Yes, he's wonderful. Um, but I mean, I'm blessed to be able to have a lot of things and a lot of fun, wonderful things in my life. So, yeah, to be honest, I feel like the challenge is always like prioritizing, and it's always something that's in flux right now. So, like right now, I'm definitely like I'm feeling that like there's a lot of personal healing happening, being in the studio, making with my hands again. Because the rest of the year I'm doing a lot of photographing. I'm photographing people, and like sometimes I'm just like I am a little over peopled right now, you know? So it's really nice to be able to come here and retreat and to kind of like heal that part of myself that really needs to be here and making with my hands and working differently. So that's kind of my love right now. And then in January, I do have some time set aside where I'm literally going 3 hours up north to the middle of nowhere in Maine, and I'm just gonna finish the book. So that's very exciting as well.
That's really exciting. And I love that you have prioritized a space. Like, I'm not going to be distracted here. I'm going to go to this space. And that's where the magic's going to happen. I love that.
And even my studio space, I mean, this is, maybe 3 miles away from my house, but I need it. I think it's so important. If possible, of course, like people can get into a different mindset, and like just shift things around in the home. So you're like, it's not home right now. I can leave home responsibilities aside, but I think it's so important to like, yeah, shift physically to get into a different space to shift your mindset. I find that's really, really, really powerful and helpful for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I even with my mediumship students, I say a private, even if it's a corner, even if it's a closet, even if it's not beautiful yet, choose a
Hmm.
space that's separate from the dishes, separate from the phone calls, separate from everything else. And that's where you have your dates with spirit. And we do feel a vibrational shift when we step into those spaces. And the one trick I shared with some of them, they're like, well, it's still my house. And I'm like, dance your way into it then. Move the body in a way that you don't walk in the rest of the house and dance your way on into that space so that it does feel differently. And it reminds me years ago, I had my healing room in Niagara Falls and I worked out of my home there for a while and it worked well because I did have that separate space. And I would frequently find Chloe's friends who were all little boys, this is their ages probably from 10 to 14. I would randomly go in there and see a little boy up on the meditation table and they're saying, Mom Sam, can I just stay in here? I'm like, you do you, let me know when you're done. And they were just like, I don't know why, but I feel safe in this room.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
sweet.
what happens when we create the energy of a space. So
Hmm.
I love that you're doing that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and if you're at home, I find also because I mean, the snow, I'm in Maine. The snows can get pretty rough here too, and sometimes I just can't make it to studio where it hasn't been plowed out yet or for a few days. And so I will literally just like put a different type of incense to burn. I will, yeah, put a different sound on, just shift one of the senses a little bit, and that really does help shift the energy as well in your
I
space.
love it. I love it. It definitely does. So you guys get a lot of snow there?
Yeah. Not so much as other parts because we are on the coast at least, but yeah, sometimes we can be walloped.
Yeah, us here too in Northern Ontario, we get quite a bit as well. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I treasure those days, those snowed in days, as true just closed off from the world and just me and my loved ones in spirit, and we just enjoy that time. Like I'm like, oh, roads are closed. I can work from anywhere, but I'm like, nope, not working today. Phones are off, and let's just enjoy. And I'll make some tea and get some blankets, and let's just snuggle in. And sometimes that can even be part of the magic too. Eh? Just taking that time off just to recalibrate.
Absolutely. A snow day for all.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So as we are embarking on this 2025, I think it's fair to say energy has shifted. I think everybody's on board now with agreeing the world and the energy has shifted. So what do you see coming up for 2025?
Um, oh boy. I mean, my personal goal is to really just find joy and love and compassion whenever I can find it and express so much gratitude for that.
Beautiful.
Um, yeah, the world's a weird place. The world's a very weird place. So, yeah, I think it's just a reminder that we all need to grab onto that joy, seek it out. But yes, when it does come to you, express so much gratitude when it's effortless. Um, and I think another goal or thing that I'm personally going to focus on in 2025, and I think others should as well, is really, combining things that bring you joy. As we've said, I'm kind of all over the place. I've got a lot of plates in the air. But when I do find a project that combines a few of them, I am just like, there's like so much joy, a new spark of enthusiasm because I'm doing multiple things that I love at the same time. So that's like the spirit photographs that I take,
Yes.
it's a series of I still call it it's the part of my fine artwork, but as a photographer by profession, I have all the gear, I have the know-how, the technical skill. So I'm combining these things, and it's also combining bringing spirit in and experimenting with that and bringing in the loved folks and guides of the sitter that I'm taking their portrait. And that work, I mean, if I can find more of that in 2025, just like this amalgamation of all these things that I love, then it's just like so incredible. So incredible. I mean, if I could do that and quit everything else, I'd probably be pretty happy.
Yeah. Well,
But,
speaking of spirit art, I love serendipitous moments.
mm,
And so I had just gotten to Lilydale and I'm like, I'm just going to go for a walk. Well, sure enough, I bump into Julie and Julie's getting ready. She's like, come get pictures. Okay, cool. Let's go. These pictures are so neat. And certainly if you're on my Instagram, you've seen them. You can go on over to Julie's and see them, like so many different mediums and different people who've come to you. And everyone is unique. Like even of us, like multiple pictures taken, every one of them, even in seconds changing, they're all unique. It is really, really cool. And I don't know if I told you this or not, but so for those of you who don't know, I'll quickly back you up or get you up to date rather. So I have an ancestor who has been harassing me from spirit to clear her name for something for many years. And so just more and more of the clues have been coming out. In the summer, a lot of them came out. And so I was chatting with our friend Teresa, who has the best porch in Lilydale at Jewel of the Lake, and updating her on, oh, and then this came up, and then this got validated. I was just updating her on everything. And then 2 seconds later, I'm like, oh, I didn't show you Julie's spirit art. Can I show you? And she's like, yeah, I want to see it. And sure enough, the one face that's in the one picture that you took
mm,
is that ancestor. I didn't even notice it. And
huh,
she said, Sam, what are you talking about? That's Cassie right there. And I looked and she compared the pictures
really,
and it's the same person.
I love it.
How cool is that?
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I took one at the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft for a woman that had signed up to come in, and she's not even a medium, but she's very interested and open. And so we did a handful of them and we were reviewing them. And I was like, oh, you can't even see her face right there. And she's like, oh my God, I am my uncle. Like, so she quickly like whipped out her phone and it looked like a guy with big sunglasses on. She pulled up the picture right there of her with him with the sunglasses on. And I was just like, I
I
mean,
love that.
you can't make this stuff up. It's just beautiful, energetic connections and a trust in the process and each other. So yeah, that was beautiful. That
That's
was a
really cool.
that was a really wild one because, the faces are always in the same position every file, but then it was
Yeah.
just like totally different positioned and it was incredible. So yeah, you
Yeah.
get gems like that and it's just like
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. And you'll be doing some more of that spirit art in June in Lilydale as well for Fun Fest.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so definitely if you guys want to check that out, follow Julie and you'll see where she's doing it. Because the Buckland Museum, you're done now, right?
Yeah, yeah, and Stephen over there, the director, we've discussed me going there regularly, like maybe once or
I
twice a
love.
year. Yeah. Yeah.
He is very, very nice. We really enjoyed going there. So awesome, awesome. And so we kind of went off on a rabbit trail. That was probably my fault. I'll own that one. But you were mentioning so many beautiful things, and I really want to make sure that we touch in on that space around joy.
Mhm.
Because often when people are struggling to be positive, and certainly we have people struggling with mental health conditions more now than we ever have before,
Yep.
and fear, and all of that sort of thing. How how do we tap into that joyous space and give ourselves permission to feel it regardless of what's going on?
Yeah. Um, Give me the hard questions here, Sam. No, just kidding.
No, but you inspired it. So
Yeah, no, yeah, finding your joy is really difficult, but I think it's really important to be truly, truly perceptive with what you're feeling in your body, what you're feeling in your heart, what you're feeling in your mind, what you're feeling in your soul. So it's kind of like using like in mediumship, using all your clairs, all your senses, and really like being in tune and being able to pick up all these very slight, subtle feelings. And even if you're at the point, because I've been there, I've actually struggled with depression, chronic depression, my since I've been 13, and mostly off medicine, just because I have a lot of tools now.
yeah,
I'm very blessed, but of course, I still, especially when winter hits, I still like seasons affect me still. But sometimes it's absolutely hard to feel that joy. So it's really important to just be in tune with your body, physically, emotionally, spiritually, um, because we do, even in the worst of times, something will bring us joy. And whether that's just like a warm feeling in the stomach from having something delightful that you ate, like maybe movie theater popcorn delivered to you, or watching a movie and you kind of even just like slightly kind of laugh. Like really holding on to those little moments, and recognizing them for what they are. That's hugely important and expressing gratitude for that. Um, and I'm a huge, huge, huge believer in gratitude practice. So, yeah, really being perceptive to slight shifts in your body, in your mind, in your emotions.
yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. And I love what you said too about just owning it because it's still okay to own today I'm having a sad day.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And even though I'm having a sad day, I'm still grateful. Or
Mhm.
maybe today I'm grateful for a sad day because if I lived somewhere where I couldn't express my feelings, I wouldn't be allowed to do this today. Right?
Exactly.
And just understanding that the emotions are messages coming to us. And
Mhm.
so I really love that you mentioned the joy because I think it's one that gets forgotten a lot. I think it's easier to grab onto the heavier emotions because
Mhm.
they're the closest to the physical body. But when we
Yeah.
can move ourselves outward to the lighter vibrations, that's where we can really make shifts and changes in our life for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, yeah, why bother doing anything if you're not having fun or a semblance of fun within it? So, clearly I live a life of joy chasing. I think I'm always chasing joy, and when I find it, I just like a dog in the lawn, I just roll around in it as long as I can.
I love it. And you know what? I'm just envisioning that's your next project is joy chasing. You know, like we have the storm chasers that take
Yeah,
tornado pictures and you just joy chasing and finding people and things that lift you and inspire you. I can I love that for you. Awesome, awesome. Do you have any other last minute words of wisdom for anybody who's watching this, anyone who is feeling inspired or maybe even wanting to tap into their own inner artist to really get some of these emotions flowing and
yeah,
get hold of 2025 with joy and excitement?
absolutely. Yep. And my spirit team told me to just say this too. Um, yeah, don't be afraid. Don't take yourself too serious. Don't be afraid of making a fool out of yourself. Don't be afraid of failure. I've failed at so many things, but it's fun and then you learn from it. Um, every little new project that I pick up in the studio, because I do 2D, 3D, all different things. And I've never had training in most of them. But you if you have a can-do attitude or just some kind of willingness to be again, vulnerability, um, like it's okay to just try something new and to not know what the outcome is because usually it's really surprising that outcome and really wonderful and healing or expansive or yeah, or just something new. It's always just fun to try something new as well and kind of get yourself out of a rut.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. You're gonna love this new family project my dad suggested we do. So we're going to do this starting in January. Um, every month, do a family Zoom call where everybody brings something they've created. It can be a painting, it can be a picture, it can be a photo. And we say this, so my dad and I joke like we can't even draw stick people, right? But when we actually go to do it and we're inspired, beautiful things come out of it, right? And then my sister is an extremely talented artist. Chloe is a very talented artist. So is Tristan. So I was so excited when he suggested, he goes, you know what? I think we're all actually better than we thought. Let's do this family art day. And so that's something that we're bringing in for 2025. And you just inspired me to share that because it's, we all have something to bring out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that.
Awesome. I thought you would like that. Yeah, it was pretty fun. I was surprised, but I was excited when he shared that for sure. All right. So what can people look forward to or where can they find you? Because I know as people are watching, they're like, I want more Julie in my life. So how can they best connect with you?
Probably the easiest way is through Instagram. My main art account is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me, and that's just at Julie K. Gray, and it's Gray. And then there's all different amalgamations of that. Julie K. Gray photography for like my weddings, and psychic medium Julie K. Gray for the psychic medium work. And but yeah, feel free to reach out.
Beautiful, beautiful. And definitely go on over to her Instagram. You will be very blessed in what you find there. There's so much beauty and vulnerability, and I just love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Julie, for being here today. I've so enjoyed connecting with you as always, but I know everyone watching has really been appreciating everything you have to share too.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right, guys, we will see you on the next interview. And in the meantime, head on over and check Julie out. Thanks so much.